Hello, everybody. Welcome to another Leap Academy. These are the mini series. So, same as usual, we're going to try and get these things knocked out in just about 15 minutes. The last one went a little bit long because of some questions, but all good. Today, I think we can get this thing knocked out pretty quick. So, the thing we're going to be focusing on today are just the impact of errors on the business. This is really what we would mostly consider kind of a, excuse my French, but no shit Sherlock kind of a topic. But the nice thing about it is a lot of times people don't see the quantified impact. So a lot of what we're going to be covering today is not only around what the issues are, but it's also some cool, interesting ways on how to fix them. And continuing with the theme of our Sherlock analogy, it goes without saying that Leap is purposely designed to really address every single one of the pieces that we're going to be bringing up today. So all the different errors and etc. So if you're not familiar with how to overcome them, feel free, set up some time to speak with one of our reps. They will show you every one of these in practice. So with that said, and in the nature of these mini series, we're going to get this thing started. So first things first, in the next couple minutes, we're going to throw in a quick poll just to see who uses what. It's whether or not you're using or not using Leap. It's just as simple as a yay or nay. That's just going to let us know how we should gear the messaging. Also, if everybody's looking at their screen right now, you should see the little GoToWebinar menu bar. Feel free, there's a question section in there. That's how we communicate back and forth with you guys because this is a listen only. But if you drop in your questions, it allows us to really cater the messaging for this webinar specifically to the things that caused you to take 30 minutes out of your day. So do me a favor just to make sure that I know all of you are familiar with how to use this. In that question section, drop in where you're attending from. I'm actually dialing in from Chicago today. We've also got Michelle on the line. She's dialing in from our home offices, kind of in that DC, Baltimore area. So Pittsburgh, solid. Thank you, Amber, for being first person to do the message board. So again, drop in where you guys are attending from. It always helps us out. It's a little way to understand where you're coming from. So cool. As we keep going, like I said, we're going to jump into a quick poll. Michelle, if you have that poll ready. Are you currently using Leap or nay? Just do a favor. Click that. One or the other. Real simple. All right, sweet. So we'll leave this open. There we go. All right, solid. So Michelle, we can close it out. That's all good. Thank you guys for answering that. Quick and easy. Now let's get this thing started. I think we can get out of here in 15 minutes. So let's talk a little bit about errors. So this is the agenda that we're going to cover today. What are these common errors that we currently see? Again, these are taken from our user data. So we've got over 800 people currently using Leap in different facets, selling pretty much any home improvement project you can imagine. Anything from custom bathrooms, roofing, windows, siding, gutters, kitchens, shoot, you name it. There's even a guy trying to sell meat out of the back of his truck using Leap. So we're pretty product agnostic, works with literally anything. But this is all derived from a lot of these customer conversations. So when we speak with them, hey, what are the pain points that you're running into? What are the reasons why you're feeling the need to change? So these common errors are derived from a lot of the conversations with customers. We're going to then look at the impact of this. So again, when you look at this, it could just be rhetoric that we're spouting with, oh yeah, this company may have experienced it. Nada. We're going to take a look at the dollars and cents and the impact that some of these companies have had, and then quantify these things at scale. All right, and then last, no good pointing out errors, no good pointing out pain points for organizations if you don't provide a solution on how to fix it. Otherwise, we're basically just a support group that doesn't really support each other. So we'll take a look at some key things to ask yourself and where to fix them. Again, keep in mind the caveat that I mentioned a second ago. Leap was purposefully designed not only to function within the home because it was built by somebody who wasn't a home sales rep. It's also designed to mitigate a lot of these errors because it was also built from that home improvement organization standpoint. So moving forward, let's take a look at these errors. So these 5 were identified as the top 5 that companies are typically running into. Number 1 would be like your version control. So this is like making sure that everybody has the most up-to-date resources and materials. We're selling off the most current product and pricing sheet, et cetera, et cetera. Two, costly rep errors. So these are like the little BS onesies and twosies. So like, oops, you forgot a signature, or oops, you forgot to, you forgot to add that one item. So all those dumb little things that reps are guilty of, and I guarantee everyone on this call has run into that. Feel free to give me a little amen in the question section if you felt that. But they all make dumb mistakes. We have some of the best salespeople in the world in this industry, but sometimes they do the stupidest things. And it's not them that typically have to deal with the suffrage at the end of the day. It's you guys as the business owners. So we'll look also at number 3, the accounting for fees, like financing. Oh, miraculously, financing is typically not free to a business. There are merchant and dealer fees. So there are also credit card processing fees. All these dumb little things add up to money lost. Number 4, improper sales training. Again, what am I training on and where am I spending my time? And lastly, the price layoffs and negotiation. This is the area when we start to quantify things out. That is one of the biggest pieces that we see. The customers are just bleeding money. And they don't feel like it because they're still selling the deal, but it's the difference between tens of thousands of dollars sometimes at these higher ticket items. So like the $20,000 to $30,000 and up tickets. Great. The difference between MSRP and your floor or your par pricing is pretty substantial. So we'll take a look at that in detail. So version control. Going back in. Let's take a look at our version control. So on the right-hand side, you can see just a simple example. I told this from one of our foreign companies, but again, when you talk about the pricing sheets, these things can be lengthy, they can be cumbersome, they can be difficult to navigate for new reps, and more importantly, they're a pain in the ass to keep current. So if you have a sales meeting, say every Monday, and that's where you distribute all your new materials, if on Wednesday you make a change to your pricing and you up everything by 2%, well, unless everybody takes that out into the field, you can have reps out there selling at an automatic 2% reduction. That's the last thing that you want leading into the door. The other thing that you see too is there's a psychological impact on sales reps when you change your pricing. Instantaneously there's this like, oh my God, why did they do that? It makes it so much more difficult for me. It's that victim mentality. They also see it as a roadblock. Oh, I can't sell that because it's too expensive now. Like again, that silly little change that might have happened that's 1 or 2%, oftentimes the sales reps are going to take that and it's going to negatively impact your sales. So if you have a way of mitigating that by digitally controlling it and pushing it out through a vessel like an application like Leap, not only can you ensure that everybody's selling with the most current up-to-date materials, but you can also ensure that if you change pricing, it's not always going to be seen. And if you do that, you forego any of those silly little like psychological impacts from something as simple as a 2% price increase because the cost of shingles went up. So again, you can control all that from the back end without them ever having to see it and just eliminate that altogether. The next is let's take a look at some of these onesies and twosies. All right. So this slide really conveys that sales reps in this space, while they are, again, some of the most talented sales reps I've ever been privy to. Again, I come from technology and data as my background professionally. So when you look at the type of sales reps that I've been apprised to, like they're nowhere near as talented as closers as this industry. It's amazing. But on the left-hand side, you'll see they're really good at talking to people. They could literally make friends with a wall. They're really good at creating value with whatever you're doing. They can create these market differentiations that are just unbelievably powerful. They can overcome any friggin' objection that you've ever seen because they are researched and practiced to no end. And at the end of the day, they close jobs. But on the right-hand side, you're going to see they suck at math. They do. Oftentimes, you're going to see it's the dumbest little error of adding up the total cost for a window in a paper contract. Oh, my God. Even if it's done on a calculator, it's still data entry. Anything manual means that there's a risk of an error. All right. When I say lazy, don't take that as a condescending term for a lot of these sales reps. Oftentimes, laziness is the mother of inventions, hence why Leap was ever created in the beginning. All right. Steve, our founder and creator, like He was a lazy sales rep. He's like, there's a better way to do this. It means I can get in and out faster. Hence Leap being created. But at the same time, they're always going to be looking from the shortest path from point A to point Z. If that requires jumping a couple steps here and there, they're going to do it. They are the best at poking holes in process. They also don't follow them if they have to. Like, again, if there's ways around it, they're going to find it. The funniest thing that we always joke around with, and it's something I use consistently, is sales reps can be considered or likened in the same way as the velociraptors in Jurassic Park. They will test every inch of fence to find a weakness. They will do it every single time. Again, they are those people, but they are incredibly good at what they do. Lastly, they suck at details. So when it comes to filling out every little component of a job, if you think about what it means to leverage technology to make your whole business more streamlined, you need to think not only of the marketing teams, the sales teams, but also the production and the install. So if they're not making a sale with enough details in the contract or enough details in the summary or order sheets that ultimately help that production staff, well, guess what? They're setting you guys up for a much more difficult headache down the line. The other thing we got to take a look at is what happens when they do these little onesies and twosies. All right. 3 things happen. They're going to hurt you from a time perspective, like I said just a second ago. If you're running into an issue of them making the process of going from sales to production more difficult, they're costing you money. It takes more time, costs you more money. There's typically more bodies involved. You got to send somebody out. It's a pain in the butt. So time is money. There you go. The money side of it. What if they sell something that doesn't exist? All right. An incorrect product combination. Hey, that window actually wasn't available with Colonial Grids. Oops, but I sold it that way. You guys have to make that very difficult call that says, oh, by the way, you can't get that with Colonial Grids, but if you want it, I'm going to have to charge you another $500. What? That conversation typically doesn't fall on the sales rep. It falls on your internal staff, causes divide, costs you money. You could lose the job. And then lastly, if you create any sort of bottleneck for your customers, you potentially risk your own reputation. It's not that sales rep that's the name of your company. It's your name that's the name of your company. So if that customer has even the slightest little hiccup in that installation process because that person didn't know that, oh, shoot, I forgot to take a picture of the hail damage that happened on that roof, or I forgot to take a picture of that rotted sill in a window and I need to replace that. Well, that person then has to go back, installs get delayed, ordering might get delayed, and that could be the difference between whether they refer their friends and family. All right, one negative review. There could be 1,000 reviews on a company. I'm not reading the positive one. I'm reading the negative one. And if you've ever experienced that, you know the impact of one negative review. It could cost you business. So again, stupid errors can really damage your reputation long term. The other thing you got to consider too is every single manual process within your business is a point of leakage, is a risk. All right. This statistic that you see on the screen is something we show all the time on a bunch of different presentations that we do because it's terrifying. 50% of businesses in our space use manual processes. It's insane. But it's not the difference between a successful and an unsuccessful business. It's the difference between a good business and a great business. You might be really good at what you're doing, but is it scalable? The last thing that we got to talk about too, or not the last, but you got to account for fees. Again, I mentioned these things: payment processing fees, administrative fees. If you give away anything like vouchers or giveaways, like, we partner with an organization called Destination Motivation. If you give them a cruise voucher, great. That's not free. It costs money. So a lot of these fees, if you're not accounting for those in the back end, or if you're not baking in a lot of your merchant fees, you run the risk of undercutting your margins. The other thing that is the most like risk to a business is people's ability to negotiate a deal. There's a massive difference between your floor, your MSRP, and par, period. It's huge. When you look at your average markups for companies, you're talking like 30 to 50%. So if it's the difference between $25,000 floor and a $50,000 MSRP, that's 25,000 of your dollars, not the reps. They're going to sell the job. They don't care if it costs you $10,000, $15,000 of potential earning. They don't care. And when you ask yourself, are all reps created equal? The answer is hell no. They're not. I guarantee if every one of you didn't just laugh a little bit under your breath, I really question that. I guarantee all of you did to some extent. It's just because, again, there's some reps out there that are just amazing at negotiating, and they're always going to sell up for as high as possible. But then others that are a little bit less confident or slightly timid, whatever, they might sell it close to the floor at any given time. So if you're not controlling what they see or what margins they're able to work with, and you're not digitally locking that down, you're basically letting them juggle your money. So again, we went over this stuff. The other thing to take a look at too, and this is something I commonly see again with my background in data and technology, most of what I did was in private equity. So I would go into organizations and basically coach them on their operations. So when you look at it, one of the things I always tend to find was managers have a tendency to sell based on closing percentages rather than the cost of the deal sold. All right, you got to make sure that you look at both of those metrics because it's not one or the other, it's both. So let's take a look at what the quantified nmap is on this. Like I said, I want to get this thing done as close to 15 as I can, and I'm only 2 minutes over. So when we look at this, let's see how much a rep can bleed from a company. So just some quick reps. You got one rep, they sell 3 deals a week, 50 weeks out of the year. That's giving the assumption they're going to go on vacation, 150 deals a year. All right? Let's just assume you subtract out their cancellations, and this is being really, extreme. Let's say lose 50 of those deals because of cancellations, which is insane. I mean, that's like 30% cancellation.